the process, it is designed for you to reveal, understand, and face a lot of things that sometimes you don't want to. We shy away from certain conversations, but we have triggers, right? So sometimes when you feel comfortable in that moment, you open up. Through the process, I had a victim mindset. Why me? And then full circle, it was like, this is me, and this is what it was supposed to be. So I'm gonna take what I have now and pour that back and say, how can you become a better person? And it's like, yeah, I'm not a victim.
Rarely do we stop and think about ourselves positively. We tend to think about all of our faults. And so we try and balance that out. It's like, okay, you've had tough stuff happen to you. How'd you use that to propel you forward? And because inherently you do, because you're still here, you're still breathing, you're still smiling, like it's made you stronger. And we rarely give ourselves credit for that.
Yeah, I was always one of the ones. I'm so humble. I don't like to toot my own horn. Now I toot it because I deserve it, you know? I'm still humble, but I'm very much like I'm gonna pop it because I know I overcame so much.
Tooting your own horn with intentions is really just sharing your testimony with the effort to try and make somebody else be better. It isn't. It's really where the promise of Inspire came from. It's like, we're not gonna brag because of the things we do as a company, and you don't brag about the things you do as an individual, but you wish to try and inspire somebody because the world needs that.
That's the aha moment. When you open up and you start sharing and you just realize that you've touched people that are going through similar situations or are battling those struggles of owning who they are as who they are. And I think that's sharing that story is impactful. Sharing your story, whether it's good or bad, it's going to help someone. I wonder if, I know you said your dad decided to say we should do an Employee of the Year. Fast forward to now that so many different faces would take that honor and how it would touch that many lives. I wonder if they knew that the foundation that they set would just be so phenomenal and so diverse. Like, it's crazy, it's amazing.
that our 5 promises are alive and well. Man, it's tough for me because I don't get a chance to get down into the dirt and the grime and do a lot of the day-to-day work anymore. Nobody lets me do that because I'm bad at it. But this is the process where I really get to see what people think about other people in the company. It's from the nominations to the interviews to the process. It's just so revealing. Would you say so? I feel like I know all 8 of you much, much better than I did a couple months ago. And so it's just so humbling to know how many awesome people there are in this company. And the committee, that was the second thing that I did after I called Sharon, was get me a goddamn good committee. So I packed it full of old employee of the years. I thought, what the hell? That's probably the best way to go, don't you think? So did you guys enjoy the process? It's a lot different to be on the other side of the microphone, huh? But it is so cathartic for so many people to go through this, because you do get a chance to humble brag about yourself a little bit. You get a chance to sit and think and open up and reveal parts of you that you probably never would have revealed otherwise. And I think it helps people grow as people. And so I'm super proud of the process that we've put together. I'm super proud of all the finalists this year. We are going to watch videos about you guys. Is that going to be cringy for you guys a little bit? Yeah, I hate it too, but we're going to make you do it. So we're going to get right into it. I could go on and on and on about all 8 of these individuals. I'm going to save you from that because hopefully the videos will do a good job. So we are going to start with the first video, and we're going to go straight into Ryan Irvin.
I really, truly enjoy working with people. When I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do after high school, I knew I was into technology. So, when I went to college, I was going to do computer programming, and I learned very quickly that my style, my personality, my type A crazy person, cannot live in a cubicle writing code all day, and call it fate or whatever. When I was doing that, my first year, I was working at Staples part-time for some extra cash as I was going to school, and I got mystery shopped, and he's like, hey, do you want to make an extra $1 an hour from what you're making now? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a college student. So we moved across the street to the Verizon store. Again, just was going to do part-time, and instantly I knew that was back in the day where you start 2 weeks for full training. Marion for a few days in a training store. Marion for a few days in a training store a long time ago with J.C. Sting himself, all right, was the trainer. And I instantly knew that this business was going to take off and be something. And I enjoyed what I was doing. And I was making pretty good money as a 20-year-old, 19-year-old, and instantly knew that this is for me. When I moved down here in 2014, when the office was in Carmel, and they had this whole idea of like, hey, we need somebody to start up the call center and stuff. I'm glad that was a risk. That was a big risk, but I'm glad I took it. I have zero regrets. But right after I moved down here, as we're building a house and stuff like that, my marriage went to hell out of nowhere, after almost exactly 10 years of marriage. But I was, for a year and a half, as I was brand new here in Indy, only people I knew was people I worked with. I didn't have a lot of friends established here yet, that I was so worried about being alone in the unknown. And my closest friend said, this is just a moment in time. It will pass. And it did after a few years, And I tell people it was the worst and best thing that's ever happened to me, because I am more empathetic. I do savor life even more. It did bring a lot of good out of me, And it took years to realize that. If you can learn to really cherish the moments, whether they're big or small, the moment that you're in, be happy for the opportunity that we're in right now. I think that's it's a critical life rule, you know, to enjoy the present. So, and to create moments as well. Put yourself in a situation where, whether it's, you know, event with friends or family, you know, or even just a few minutes with a coworker in the hallway. Like, I love creating the opportunity for moments. I grab life by the horns. I could be struck dead tomorrow on I-69 right here, and I'd be like, I fucking lived, you know? You know, I've seen people like that are on their deathbed, and they get asked by their family, what, you know, what do you've done? And it wasn't what they never talk about what they would have bought, or that sports car, or whatever, even that house or whatever. It's, I wish I would have spent more time with the people that matter to me, you know? I wish I would have taken that trip. I will never say no to a trip. I do it a lot, and because I'm gonna have no regrets whenever the clock ticks. There's been like 100 billion people on this planet, give or take. Now, the chance of us being born and now at all, like the number of people that could exist will never exist, you know, from all the different configurations of a gene or whatever, you know. One thing I heard is like you could win the lottery, you have more chance to win the jackpot lottery 10 times in a lifetime before you even have a chance to live it all, you know? So the fact that we have this opportunity, not to squander it, whether you're here for 50 years or some of us can live longer, you know? That's been just an absolute massive gift.
You have infectious energy, Ryan. You really, really do. And it's just a joy to have you here in the office every day. Anyhow, the show must go on. And so we're going to move on, and we're going to share a video of Courtney Kibble.
The greatest lesson I've learned is that forgiveness can change your life. When I was born, I had a mom and a dad, and they got divorced. And my dad left my mom and I. And he went on to have 7 more children, 3 more wives. He still keeps people away from me. I still struggle with the way that he treated my mom. He tells people not to be part of my life, my siblings specifically, and that hurts. I was lucky enough to have my mom remarry, and my dad, Howard, adopted me when I was 2. From the outside, that looks great. But on the inside, I dealt with a lot of abandonment issues and feelings of, why me? Why would he leave me? What's not good enough about me? And I struggled for a long, long time. I say this all the time, that my dad, Howard, was the best man on the world. And to want to love a child that's not your own, even though I was really cute, had to be hard. And he loved us like nobody could. And after losing him, I have seen how much more he truly loved us. The things that he protected us from that we had no idea about, and the way he led with kindness in all things, and the legacy that he created for our family. When he walked me down the aisle when I got married, the last thing he whispered in my ear was unconditional love. And I've tried to keep that in my head and try to teach that. I don't do anything for acknowledgement or trophies. I do things for people. And I feel like that's why I'm here. Because I care about these people that I work with. And even if they don't care about me, I want them to understand that I'm here, that I can help, and that I can make their job easier. So I think that being seen like that is why I'm here. I think that I have helped people find their favorite part of working here. I think I've helped people through tough times. But I think that it's because I've been honest and transparent with people. Also at the same time, that they see me as a person that they can lean on and hopefully rely on. The interactions you have with people and the way you treat people can really impact them for years to come.
Just an endless amount of positivity, and thank you for that. So, you're up, boss. No, you don't have to go anywhere. Tyler Crouch, ladies and gentlemen.
I've made a bunch of bad decisions in life, a lot of poor ones, and it's really shaped who I am. Like I said, I've had some really bad experiences based on my own decisions and my own, making and doing, and learning from those failures and really seeing the difference had a huge impact. It makes me really appreciate what I have. I think the greatest lesson I've ever learned is really to be able to see myself in somebody else's shoes, like you said earlier. I think it's been super important, instrumental in my life that I've been through so much, different things that I can tell exactly what you're going through. And, as a DM, we hire people all the time that are in between paychecks or just left a job or struggling. And I think the lessons that I've learned have helped me really get them started. I think it's, I can see myself in their shoes. I've been where they've been. I just hired somebody that had their car repoed out of the store parking lot, 3 days in. You know what I mean? I've had that happen. I know where that's at. Our cell phone was shut off, lights don't work, trying to get Christmas, things like that. When I was 29, I met my wife, and she was pregnant. And I did not know that at the time. And it was just kind of a fling, we had a spark and there was something there and we kind of started it going. And I ended up staying until our first son was born, which is my stepson. Baby, growing up, getting through all of that, and then we ended up having our second kid. Definitely saved me. They're my best friends, teach me a lot about patience, about trying to be a father, learning from them. Just realize, this is who I want to be. I kind of grew up as a kid and didn't think I wanted kids. I wanted money and fame and all this, whatever else you want as a little kid, right? Family really wasn't on the table. But then when it's kind of thrust upon you and you're put into a father position, by choice, by accident, whatever may happen, it really kind of shows you who you are. And it shows you what's important in life. And really, family is really the only thing that's important in life to me. I found out later in life that my purpose, whether you believe in God or higher power or Buddha or whoever, whatever, I still believe that everybody has a purpose or a calling or something that they're really good at, right? And I feel like that's my purpose is being helpful, being caring, being a good person, being there when other people need you. If life's tough, a lot of people, like I said, been dealt a bad hand or chose a bad hand, whatever. And a lot of times they just need help, need a leg up, need to lift up. And I've been there. So I think that's kind of what has always made me relate to a lot of people is I've been through a lot of things that somebody's going through. It could have turned out completely different. I'm lucky to be here in general. So I'm very appreciative.
Oh, Tyler, you're a great man and a hell of a mentor. So, moving right along, we're going to watch Karen Doherty. Come on.
You cannot judge people. It's so cruel. My daughter, Kristen, in 2017, on her birthday, was diagnosed with the breast cancer. And it was very rapid, like it was going fast. At the same time, she'd been trying to get pregnant with her second kid. And she had a couple miscarriages. She was finally pregnant. She was a couple months pregnant. And they said, you can either roll the dice or you're going to have to get rid of your baby. She wanted to make sure she was there for Vincent, my first grandson. So we had to go to one of those clinics. And there's people outside with signs picketing. I get it, they have their views, but it's like, come on, you think we want to be here? You don't know people's circumstances. That hit me hard, and I want to make sure I don't ever judge people, because I don't know what's going on in your life. I felt like I failed when I got pregnant in college. I felt like that was such a failure. It turned out to be a blessing, but kind of woke me up a little bit on not being so naive. Even from a professional, if I fail my team, I'm still learning, and I think they see me still learning. And I feel like the failures recently I got to flip the script, and it's more about grace, not grit. I always thought it was about grit, be gritty, be tough, no. And it's really about grace, like having the grace to learn something from it. Like, okay, there's a reason this happened. Regardless, like, what are we going to take from it? There were things that I led us down the wrong path. And there was absolutely room to step back and say, where could we have improved? What could we be doing better? And it's teaching me like the grace to see that instead of telling you every reason why this was the right way. So I think that's what, failures kind of taught me, is it's not about being gritty and being the tough one. And at the end, it's having the grace to accept it, know what your purpose is, and learn from it. For me, I'm not kidding, this process could be the time where I am in my life, but it was, it really brought a lot of things together for me. And as far as where I am and who I am, and kind of confirmed who I want to be and who I am, that I'm pretty sure I'm on the right path, and I'm in the right place, and I'm sitting in the right chair, and it's okay to be sitting in this chair. So I would say thank you for that gift.
Oh. Karen, it's so inspiring to see the confidence come out of you. It was amazing. Thank you. Moving right along, we're going to see Denise Williamson.
I came from like a pretty bad start. I probably shouldn't be here right now, like statistically. And coming from that and overcoming the obstacles that I did has just led me to constantly choose the right path, make the right decision as a result of that. My mom, she had a drug problem, and we basically bounced from house to house to house all over the place. At one point, she got into prostitution, and she thought that she would actually make money off of having me become a prostitute for her. My dad at the time was very ill and in the hospital. He wasn't aware of what was going on. I watched other people in the circle of like close friends with her and their daughters do that, and something just really didn't feel right, and I just decided that I wasn't going to do that. So I might have assaulted my mother to get out of the situation, and she called the police, and I went to juvie for a little bit, and there was some stuff there. And when I came out, I was homeless on the street for over 2 years, and me and my dad like literally lived in a car while we were trying to figure out situations. I dropped out of school when I was 14. He was just so ill, like he couldn't physically do anything, so we would street hustle, like literally like buy. He was very big into like tools and stuff, so we'd buy tools, resell them to make the profit, and that's how we supported ourselves for 2 years. And then the truancy officer, actually we got an apartment finally, and the truancy officer showed up one day, and they were like, you're supposed to be in school. And I was like, I dropped out like 2 years ago. He was like, you can't legally drop out. He was like, that's not how it works. So either your dad's gonna go to jail, or you can go to this state program, which was an early entry program for the military. which was boot camp. They didn't tell me that until I got there, so that was a little disappointing. And that's how I got involved in basically turned my life around. I went through that program, did very well, got my GED and all that stuff. So what you learn as a child and as a young adult, it changes, and you start to become more appreciative, more understanding of things through the eyes of your children. Being a single mom financially, I have been able to put enough money aside for all of them to go to college debt-free and not have to take out loans and stuff. And it was something that was really important to me because I didn't get that opportunity. Truly being a parent has been the greatest lesson and opportunity for me, for sure. I feel like because I faced a lot of failure in life, I'm very driven. So if you challenge me and tell me I can't do something or something's not possible, I'll figure out a way to do it.
Are you guys getting a feeling that we had a really long day that day? There was a lot of conversations and a lot of tears, but a lot of joy and a lot of inspiration. Denise, you inspired all of us, so thank you. We're going to move along to Kim Stevenson.
When I was growing up, I was an Army brat. My dad was a Vietnam veteran. When I turned 15, Dad went through some rough patches. He started having nightmares. He started having problems just being around people. And I was supposed to be with him on the night of May 7th, 1985. He was supposed to come get me, but he was late. Didn't show up. 2 o'clock in the morning, we get a knock on the door, and it's our preacher. And he says he's gone. And from that point, moving forward, now it's no dad, and mom's gotta go out and win and get the job and make the money. And Kim took on the role of mom. So I grew up very fast. From the time that we found out my dad was gone, it just was hard to ask for help, to be that one that says we can't pay the light bill. Mom doesn't have groceries for the table. And I want to be the one to help to fix that. I don't want anybody to go through the struggles that I went through growing up. I'm thankful for the life lessons that I learned and continue to learn at 55. But I can make a difference and be helpful and be patient and be someone's go-to person. And that's what makes me happy. The family unit, I think that's probably what's incredibly important to me, is being a part of a family. And why I talk about my kids so much and why I always want to be around them. But I think that's why, another reason why I've stuck around so long with this job is because it has over time become a family. I just want to be there for people. I just want to be there for my family, and I just want to be there for whatever the highs and the lows and the in-betweens. I want to believe I'm here because I'm trying to make a difference, regardless if it's in the store or in our communities. I hope that I'm making a difference in the life of someone.
Sorry. Okay. 2 more. We're going to move on and we are all, against his wishes, I'm sure, are going to learn more about Sean Stemler right now.
I am extremely hard on myself, and I'm my worst critic. When I say I'm like, I will beat myself up, and it doesn't matter what it is. I always tell myself I'm not good enough so I can be better. But sometimes you don't know where that stops, you know? It's like I got to a point where when I say I was by myself, like I was by myself, like, how can you be with me at my best and then at my worst? Because I'm not in a good place. I mean, I was always there for everybody in their best, but at their worst, you know, I wasn't the most liked person. I went through some stuff that made me realize that how I respond to things, my energy will impact people, especially the people that matter the most. And so I started there, where I realized that, like, if I put off, even if I don't intentionally do it, if I put off bad energy, people will respond accordingly. So I was very intentional on making sure, even if I was not in a good place, that I'd put myself in a good place, because it wasn't fair to the people around me. So then I started to expand it, you know, to the point where it's just like, it doesn't have to be immediate. It could just be someone, you know. So I'm not, by no means am I, I've said this, I'm by no means perfect. And I'm very aware of my opportunities. And I think being aware, like just my ability for the last maybe 15 years to be more aware of things, and know that self-awareness, and know that I can't be good for anybody if I'm not good for myself. I personally believe that everybody's in everyone's life for a reason. You can take something from them. They're here for a reason, even in this room. You know, whether it's someone that you pass, you know, in line somewhere, but everybody's crossing paths with people for a reason. You have a choice to take what that person has and use it to be a better person, or judgment. Judge people based on what you see and let that fester and not take it, you know. I'm where I'm at today because of everything that is around me, including this company. It's translating into the point where it's just like, it feels good to know that people appreciate what you're doing, and they see it. But I'm not doing it for anything outside of, because the people that you work with them, they're your family. In passing, they deserve the best good you. You know what I mean? But I'm here because, yeah, they see that, and I appreciate that. It helps me try to see it more myself.
You really do. You do. So last video, Ronnie Jerez.
It's trials and tribulations, right? Growing up not coming from the prettiest of families and backgrounds, and struggling, right? Like, my mom always had I got this mentality. Like, you couldn't tell my mom something wasn't, you know, not feasible for her or impossible for her to do, especially when it came to her kids, like raising us and feeding us every day and making sure we had warm clothes in the winter. Like, that's, you know, to her, it was never, oh, I can't do this for my kids. It was always, no, I got this. I'm going to make ends meet one way or another. I did a lot of dirt growing up. And when I say a lot of dirt growing up, I don't mean like that. I wasn't scuzzball completely. But in order to make ends meet, in order to, you know, be able to afford nicer sneakers or have a nicer jacket and things like that, I hit the streets at a really young age, right? Went away from what mom wanted me to do and paying attention in school to, hey, I need to provide and I need to put some money on the table, and this is one avenue, right? But all those decisions that I made led me down the wrong path, right? And I went through my trials and tribulations and ran into brick wall after brick wall after brick wall, and so I decided that, you know, let's make a change. I feel like, you know, if I'm raising my kids right now to make good decisions and be good people, and they don't do some of the things that I did, you know, their life should bring them good things, right? Like, and life is not something that they made a complete book on, so we don't know exactly what the outcome is going to be. I feel like, okay, they're going to have the right to say, whatever their future holds, like, yeah, like we earned this, we deserve this, you know, we had the right upbringing and whatnot, or we did the right things going up through life, but they're my motivation for everything. So they make everything make sense. There's a reason to do anything because I know that in the back of I'm doing it for my kids' betterment, right? I'm the youngest in my house, right? I'm the youngest in my family. I'm the youngest of 3. Due to my dedication and the fact that I want to bust my ass so hard for my kids, I've managed to have a little bit more than my siblings. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking about finance. I'm just talking about like steadiness, right? Like my kids aren't missing anything, right? But the one thing that I want to end with me is, you know, with me, the Jerez family no longer knows what poverty is. With me, the Jerez family no longer knows what, you know, being stupid is or being dumb is or not having a degree. Like, I want to leave not necessarily generational wealth, but I want to leave generational knowledge. I want everybody in my family branch moving forward to understand that knowledge is power. Prior to this, I thought I was going to be an anthropologist. I love culture. I thought I was going to travel around the world and meet different people and do, you know, experience different cultures and things like that. And that is what drove me to leaving my home when I was 15 and not going 2 blocks down the road, but leaving the country. And it's just like, you know what, let's just jumpstart this. And I get a little bit of that here. I do. I get, you know, every single one of my employees are so different. So like we get to kind of learn from each other all the time. And that's, to me, that's the beauty about being human. It's connecting and learning. And we're all very, for as independent as we want to be, we're all very dependent people. So if we didn't have one another to learn from and experience and share those things, like, wouldn't be nothing. I think that the last 7 years with TCC have helped me become a different person, and the work that I put into the company during the last 7 years, and the relationships that I built during the last 7 years have brought me here.
Oh, Ronnie did us dirty. He did a couple of his interviews in front of pictures of his kids. Just did us totally dirty. Hit us low. Oh no, but your love for those kids was really shining through, man. In the interview, in every stage of the process. I got to pick a winner, I think. Actually, we already did. So, but to me, I think all you guys are winners. So there is no loser on this stage by any means. Like, I hope you guys enjoyed the process. I hope you are proud of yourself. I hope you pat yourself on the back. I hope that you accept everything that people are going to give you after this. Hugs, high fives. You are all amazing human beings, and this company is better with you. So thank you guys for that. But alas, there has to be a winner. Do you guys want to share? No? Do you have anything you want to say? Nyla, you can't. No. Okay, so are we ready? You guys want to know who the Employee of the Year is? It's a big deal. All right. Well, this year's Employee of the Year is Courtney Kibble.
Oh. Oh. No.
All right. I guess she's not going to say anything, but we've got one mom, one husband, one son, got the whole fam here. Everybody's so proud of you, Courtney. You're amazing. And you just gave everybody a hug. Like that just shows you what type of person you are.
Thank you.
All right. The Employee of the Year. Show's over, peeps. Turn the lights on. Get back to work. Oh, I know. I regretted it until I said it.
Good work.
There's sweet treats outside the door if you guys want to stop and get a sweet treat.